Her quiet evening was suddenly interrupted by a stranger, a rude boy asking for a cigarette. Mina hesitated. There was only one left in her case. Seeing her hesitation, the boy didn't back down. Impatient, Mina simply tossed the whole case to him. But he wasn't done. After getting the cigarette, he shamelessly asked for a light. Defeated, she threw him her lighter as well. And after lighting up, instead of returning it, he simply gave her a wave and a promise to give it back before casually walking away. Mina was left speechless, annoyed by the nerve of this complete stranger. The next day, when the girl and her mother went out together, they bumped into the rude guy who had hit on her the night before.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 저 여기 아랫집에 이사 온 사람인데요. 앞으로 잘 좀 부탁드립니다.
네.
어제 그거 고마웠어. 금방 쓰고 돌려줄게.
뭐 빌려줬어?
It turned out the boy from last night, Young-jae, was their new downstairs neighbor. Mina's mother, however, seemed completely unconcerned about the stolen lighter. Instead, she jokingly asked Mina if the boy was her type. Embarrassed and finding her mother completely unreasonable, Mina quickly hurried away. But as she left, her mother paused. She turned and exchanged a quick, knowing look with Young-jae. A silent agreement seemed to pass between them. The plot thickened on the way to her destination. Her mother suddenly handed her a brand new cell phone. Mina was surprised by the unexpected gift, but she soon understood its true purpose when that same boy called her later at the library. It seemed her mother had become a secret matchmaker.
어이! 비행소녀! 비행소녀! 얼굴은 예쁘장하니 모범생처럼 생겨가지고 엄마 원래 담배나 빡빡 피우고 말이야.
제 라이터 주세요.
왜? 또 엄마 원래 담배 피우게?
왜 자꾸 시비해요?
Hearing Young-jae's voice, Mina was utterly disgusted. Angrily, she went down to confront this shameless boy, demanding to know why he had to bother her. But he just smiled, answering simply, "That's what boys do when they like someone." His directness left her speechless. He then offered her a giant lollipop, claiming it would help her quit smoking. But Mina wasn't interested. All she wanted was her lighter back. Still persistent, he grabbed her hand to give her the candy. And in that moment, he froze, instantly shocked by what he saw. Humiliated and enraged, Mina covered her arm and quickly ran away. That hand, born with only 3 fingers, was her innate pain, the reason it was always hidden inside a glove. But this visible difference was not her only burden. Mina also had a terminal illness. Having spent most of her childhood in hospitals, enduring countless surgeries, she had been told she wouldn't live past 19. So in these final months, her mother brought her home, just to let her taste a normal life. But years of isolation had left their mark, making her introverted and withdrawn. At school, during break times, while others laughed, she would sit alone, quietly taking her handful of pills. Her secret passion was ballet, but she could only dance when the classroom was empty, with a drawing on a blackboard as her only partner. She had no friends to chat or shop with, and a body that had betrayed her. And yet, Mina was not defined by her suffering, because she had her mother. More than a parent, her mom was a friend and a confidant, who carefully nurtured not just her health, but her spirit. They were inseparable, a small, fierce team of 2. It was this unconditional motherly love that allowed Mina to still open her arms and feel the beauty of the world, and to embrace its wonder, instead of hiding in a corner, to lick her wounds alone.
올라가 볼게.
그냥 가는 거야? 욕구 불만이야. 애정 표현이야.
애인을 구해봐.
But in their small, happy world, a harsh reality always lingered. Her daughter's approaching end was an unmovable weight on the mother's heart. That night, a call came that would change everything. It was the boy, Young-jae. He sincerely apologized for his awkwardness earlier that day. Then, with a hint of mystery in his voice, he told her to be at her window at exactly 11 o'clock. He had a special surprise for her. Seeing her mother nearby, Mina quickly hung up. But it was too late. Her mother had already noticed the slight change in her daughter's eyes, and she could guess exactly who had called.
넌 연하고 싶다는 생각 안 드니?
미숙이 정신 차려. 자, 정신 나간 여자 사진 한 장 나갑니다.
Her mother also told her that when she was her age, she had already been on one date after another. When you find love, you should love boldly. Don't run away. But her mother's view of love was opposed by her daughter.
내가 사랑하는 사람이 비 오는 날 교통사고로 죽었어. 그 후로 난 그 자리를 떠나지 못하고 그 사람을 생각하면서 교통정리를 하는 거지. 하루도 빠짐없이 비 오는 날은 막 울면서.
Mina then explained her own, more patient understanding of love. To her, true love wasn't a brief passion. It was an extreme tenderness, a lifetime of quiet perseverance, like the old guard at her school gate. For decades, he had directed traffic every single day, ever since the girl he loved was lost in an accident on that very road. He was still waiting for her, crying his heart out every time it rained. That, to Mina, was real love. Her mother simply thought she'd read too many comics, but seeing that hopeful, yearning look in her daughter's eyes, she felt a quiet sense of relief. That night, Mina tossed and turned. Despite her philosophical views, the heart of an 18-year-old girl still longed for a special surprise. Remembering Young-jae's promise, she finally opened the window. But all she saw was an empty yard, the trees swaying in the summer night. She sighed, assuming it was all just a childish prank. But she was wrong. The next day after school, a gift was waiting for her. It wasn't a thing, but a moment. It was a moving photograph, captured by Young-jae, of her from the night before, quietly leaning against the windowsill, and tucked between the photos was a simple note.
오늘 같은 시간 같은 장소에서 기다릴게.
However, Mina didn't care, and hugged her pillow and her mother as she fell asleep. But downstairs, Young-jae waited until late at night, still tapping on Mina's windowsill with pebbles. But he was caught red-handed by the security guard.
자네가 뭐 오는 거야?
이 위로요, 막 쥐들이 막 이렇게 다니더라고요. 쥐가 왜 이렇게
필름 바보 같네.
The next day, Mina received another gift from Young-jae. It was a cute little turtle.
자기 짝이랑 떨어져서는 한시도 살 수 없는 거북이다. 짝은 내가 인질로 잡고 있다. 이 거북이를 죽이고 싶지 않으면 빨리 항복해라.
Curious, and perhaps a little charmed, Mina decided to knock on Young-jae's door. She walked into a creative chaos. He explained he was a photographer, renting the messy room from an old colleague in exchange for storing equipment. Young-jae then asked about the small turtle he'd left her. Mina, still on the defensive, said it was a gift, so why would she bring it? With a smile, Young-jae admitted the turtle was just bait to get her to visit. When Mina insisted on getting her own lighter back, he claimed he couldn't find it, offering a second turtle as compensation instead. And in that moment, something about his sunny, persistent cheerfulness began to shine into Mina's guarded heart. For the first time, she felt not annoyance, but a strange, different kind of warmth. Their connection continued to grow. They met by the river to take photos, and Young-jae patiently taught Mina the quiet art of seeing the world through a lens. It was a day of simple, easy happiness. But later, as Mina pointed her camera towards him, getting ready to capture a candid moment.
그럼 나도 맘먹는다.
나 너한테 첫눈에 반한 것 같아.
집에 갈래요.
용기 내 고백했지만 항상 너는 미안하다고 말했지. 내 마음은 진심이었는데 왜 너에게 닿지 못할까. 사랑이란 건 나에겐 먼 얘기야. 매번 문 앞에서 돌아서야 해. 언제쯤 너는 날 봐줄까. 기다리지만 또 제자리야.
His sudden confession left Mina, who had never been in love before, completely flustered. She hurriedly said her goodbyes and turned to leave. But something had changed. Afterwards, she found herself secretly watching him from her window, or glancing back as she passed his door. Young-jae's affection, meanwhile, was bold and persistent. Suddenly, a blue umbrella patterned with white clouds would float down from his window to hers, a piece of beautiful sky sent just for her. His passionate, playful love was constantly surrounding her. Yet Mina remained hesitant, afraid to open a heart she knew had limited time. Until one day, she met with a nurse from the hospital, a friend who knew her situation better than anyone. The nurse noticed a new light in Mina's eyes, the unmistakable glow of a girl in love, and she gave her some simple, powerful advice. "There's no standard answer for love," she said. "Just follow your feelings. You'll be fine." Those words were the key. They finally unlocked the door to Mina's guarded heart. Taking a deep breath, she made the call. She asked Young-jae if he wanted to go shopping with her. On the other end of the line, Young-jae was so excited.
나 시간 많은데 뭐 나랑 하고 싶은 거 없어?
나 섹스하고 싶어.
여보세요? 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 미나야. 근데 그거는 미나야, 우리가 아직 시간으로 봐도 그렇고 그거는 되게 좀 사귄 기간도 그렇고 좀 우리가 좀 더 친해지고 그건 서로를 간절히 원해. 내가 되게 당황스럽다. 그런데 참 이게 신중해.
Their first date was a trip to the department store to buy backpacks. But it started with a classic, awkward misunderstanding. When Young-jae misunderstood her intentions, Mina couldn't help but call him a pervert. Later, on the bus ride back, things got even more chaotic. Young-jae accidentally smeared his ice cream on an auntie's shoulder, and as she began to scold him, Mina came to his rescue, bravely using her gloved hand to wipe it clean and apologize. Back in their seats, Young-jae was worried her hand would get sticky. He gently took off her glove, and without a second thought, placed her hand inside his shirt, carefully wiping the ice cream from her 3 fingers. It was the first time anyone had touched her hand without flinching, without making her feel different. As she felt the warmth of his skin, Mina's heart began to pound. A new, deeper feeling for this strange, sunny boy had already begun to grow. Just then, she noticed the other passengers staring at the intimacy of the moment. And as the awkwardness returned, Young-jae did something completely unexpected.
간지러?
생긴 것만 정신이지 기능은 정상이야.
피어난 사람 지나간 시간 속에도
It was childish. It was absurd. But as Young-jae playfully used her hand to charm the entire bus, something in Mina's gloomy heart began to brighten. For the first time, perhaps in her entire life, a genuine, unforced smile appeared on her face. That night, she found herself at the window, instinctively looking for him. She saw Young-jae downstairs, who jokingly warned her not to step on his head. He then lit a cigarette and, with a playful look in his eye, began to blow smoke rings up towards her window. One after another, these fragile rings of affection spun through the air. Just as Mina was beginning to feel a warmth she hadn't felt in years, the security guard showed up, thinking he'd caught a stalker for the second time.
아니 봐! 여기서 뭐해? 사람이 저...
One night, while shooting photos in the quiet darkness, Mina finally opened up. She told Young-jae her entire story, her weakness since childhood, her hand, and the fact that her life would end soon. She explained that for years, her mother had been her only friend. That confession brought them even closer. Mina began to transform. She became more cheerful. She learned to smile freely. Even her mother noticed the change, teasing her about practicing her kissing. And for the first time, at school, Mina began to join her classmates, no longer a silent figure in the corner. She even found her own lucky symbol. She wore it proudly as she brought food to Young-jae's apartment, a small gesture of a growing affection. She loved his photograph of a sea turtle, and he promised he would one day take her to Hawaii to see them for real. Their final adventure together was a ballet photo shoot. Young-jae had arranged everything. The teacher even brought Mina a new pair of dance shoes, a dream she never dared to have. And for the first time, on her own, she took off the glove that had always hidden her hand. In that moment, it was as if she had shed all her defenses, feeling a lightness she had never known. She was living, truly living, completely immersed in a moment of pure joy. But the happiness she had found was a fragile, fleeting thing. And cruelty had always been a constant visitor in her life. Just as she was reaching the peak of her dream, her weak body betrayed her. She fainted on the dance floor. Fortunately, this time her collapse wasn't serious. When Mina woke up, the first thing she saw was a gift from Young-jae, a pair of exquisite ballet shoes, a silent promise of dreams still to come. As she recovered, her mother, Mi-suk, decided they should spend Mina's final months on a trip to Europe. But Mina had a different destination in mind. She suggested Hawaii instead. Her mother was curious, but agreed. However, when she suggested joining a tour group, Mina once again had a better plan. Her perfect plan was simple. They should bring Young-jae along. She argued he could be their bodyguard, their luggage carrier, and since he'd been there before, their personal tour guide and photographer. Mi-suk saw right through her daughter's clever excuse. And of course, Young-jae happily agreed. As their travel plans took shape, Young-jae pulled Mina into a photo booth to capture the moment. Then he did something strange, yet deeply intimate. He playfully stuck a tiny photo of himself onto Mina's toe, and a photo of her onto his own finger.
누구한테 선물 받은 거야?
우리 아빠 거. 받은 건 아니고 미수이가 숨겨놓은 거 습득한 거야.
해군이셨어?
응.
어떤 분이셨어?
우린 아빠 얘기 안 해. 미숙이나 나나 너무 싶어질 것 같아서.
나 오줌 눌 때마다 기분이 이상할 것 같아.
왜?
네가 맨날 볼 거 아니야.
Every day spent with Young-jae was a gift, a small miracle that painted a smile on Mina's face. In her short, limited life, this felt like a special grace from heaven. But as Mina blossomed, her mother, Mi-suk, quietly began to wither. The weight of her daughter's numbered days was crushing her. She would force a smile for Mina by day, only to collapse in agony when she was alone at night. She began to use alcohol just to numb the pain, and in a cruel reversal of roles, it was the sickly daughter who often had to take care of her drunken mother. Each time, Mi-suk would lie, pretending her drinking was a celebration of Mina's newfound happiness. One night, after Mi-suk had finally fallen asleep, Mina inadvertently discovered a dusty box under the bed. Inside, she found belongings of the father she never knew, and fleeting memories of her own childhood. And nestled at the bottom, one final item caught her eye, a plain, black notebook. It turned out to be a journal, a collection of letters Mi-suk had been writing to her deceased husband.
당신한테 진 빚이야 갚을 길이 없지만 미나한테는 내가 할 수 있는 만큼 갚아줄 거야. 그러니까 당신이 도와줘. 우리 미나 당신한테 갈 때까지 행복한 시간만 보내고 갈 수 있도록 당신이 도와줘.
Reading her mother's words, page after page, Mina understood for the very first time. She wasn't just reading letters. She was witnessing a silent, 20-year battle. The struggle of a strong woman who had loved her daughter unconditionally, from beginning to end. Mi-suk had never cursed her fate. Her only regret was feeling that the happiness she had given her child was never enough. In that moment, a profound sense of relief washed over Mina, a quiet gratitude for a love so deep and so resilient. The next day, it poured rain. As she walked out of school, she saw Young-jae waiting for her. And at the sight of this new, gentle love in her life, combined with the understanding of her mother's old, unwavering love, her tears finally overflowed. Turning her head, she saw him again, the old guard at the gate, standing silently in the rain, still directing traffic, still waiting. All the love, all the sorrow, all the quiet waiting. It all came pouring out of her, mingling with the heavy summer rain.
그 사람 너무 불쌍하잖아. 사랑하는 사람 먼저 보내고. 그게 뭐야. 사랑에 미쳐가지고.
Listening to her story, Young-jae offered a surprising perspective. That old man, he said, was actually the happiest person alive. Because not everyone, he explained, will ever encounter a love that powerful, a love that will stay with you for your entire life. In that moment, Mina understood. Love could exist forever. It wasn't about the length of a life, but the depth of a feeling. Just like her mother's undying love for a husband long gone. A life could stop, but love could not. Sheltering under the same small umbrella, they made a silent vow, letting their hearts grow even closer. The next morning, after the rain had cleared, Mina met Young-jae to return his 2 turtles. She told him she no longer needed a bait or a hostage. She was ready to surrender completely to his love. She just had one request, a photo of them, together. A way to preserve this precious, fleeting time. Weeks later, on a whim, Mina insisted they go to the aquarium to see the sea turtles he had a photo of. But they were too late. All the turtles had been moved for a checkup. As Young-jae comforted the disappointed Mina, promising they would see real ones on their trip to Hawaii, he couldn't finish his sentence. Mina had fainted again, and this time, they both knew. She might never get the chance to see those sea turtles after all, The doctor's words were final and unforgiving. Mina's condition was critical. She might never wake up. She could leave them at any moment. In that sterile hallway, it felt as if Young-jae's own soul had been ripped from his body. His colorful, sunny world instantly became bleak and gray. He wandered the streets aimlessly, a ghost in his own life. When he passed a travel agency, a vibrant poster of Hawaii, the place of their broken promise, mocked him. In a burst of pure, helpless rage, he tore the advertisement to pieces. His heart, just like that shredded paper, felt like it had been ripped into a million pieces by the pain. A few days later at the hospital, with a quiet resolve, he handed an envelope to Mi-suk.
이거 받아주세요.
왜 너만 없을까 문을 열면 네가 있을까 혹시 오늘은 돌아올까
처음부터 이상하다고 생각했어요.
작은 희망으로
그냥 따님이랑 놀아주면서 사진이나 찍어준 모습치고는 많다고 생각했어요.
버텨 돌아올
제가 그 돈
거라고
받으면
믿었어. 눈물로
정말 돈 받고 미나랑 놀아준 거밖에 안 되잖아요.
네가 웃으며
그럴 순 없어요.
다시 올 거란 그 말도 안 되는 약속을 잊지
미나 얼굴 다시는 못 봐요.
버리지 못해서 나 아직 너를 기다려 미안해요. 끝나지 않은 이야기처럼 너를 기다려.
As they had slowly gotten to know each other, Young-jae had truly, deeply fallen in love with Mina. Perhaps, in the very beginning, his motivation was simple, a kind gesture to help a worried mother. But that quickly changed. His feelings for Mina became undeniably real, passionate, and sincere. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed. Snow began to fall outside the window, a quiet blanket over the world. And every single day, Young-jae was still there, reading to her about Hawaiian beach and green sea turtles. Mina never woke up. She remained lost in her coma. But as he read, a single tear would stream from the corner of her eye, because in her dreams, she could hear him. My hand only knew how to hide in a glove. You made it a pistol. That fired laughter. My lungs only knew the sharp bite of smoke. You tried to replace it with the silly sweetness of a lollipop. You saw my counted days, not as a tragedy to be mourned, but as an umbrella to be shared in the rain, a tiny, fleeting shelter. And in that shelter, I finally learned how to breathe, even if it was just for a little while. And perhaps this is what love truly is. It's not about how many places you go or how long you have to wait. It's about the person who stays by your side, quietly protecting you. The one who accompanies you, even when you're lost in the darkness. It is only by holding on to that love, the love that is right beside us, that we can feel a love that feels broader and more endless than time itself. Tell the story with heart. Tell the story with sincerity. I'm Pixie Lau journeying with you so we both may grow. See you in the next video.
사랑하는 우리 엄마에게 힘들었을 텐데 엄마의 결정 너무 고마워. 이제 얼마나 남았는지 모르지만 나 행복하게 지낼게. 난 내 행복한 모습 엄마한테 선물하고 가고 싶어. 그리고 지금도 정말 너무 행복해.